I am live. Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to this incredible week. I'm super excited about this. I am putting out live circles every day, 1 p.m. Eastern time, to give you a little bit of a taste of what we do in our circles. We have so many subjects that we cover. So I'm kind of going to start with our most popular. I'm going to start with today, the divine feminine. But before we get started, I'm going to ask you, please give me a hashtag live or a hashtag repeat and tell me where you're coming from, when you're watching it. Ask questions. I have my girlfriends monitoring, so they're going to actually text me your questions. This is the first time I've ever used StreamYard, so I don't know that I'm going to get them. And I've got my trusted note cards because anybody who's ever been on with me knows that I can take a left really fast. So super focused, super excited, and really pumped to be here. I am Jo Mazgay, and I am West Coast Soul. West Coast Soul is it's my umbrella of love. It's what I put all my programs out under. I have circles, I have retreats, I have women's programs, I have youth programs, and it's all about community. And it's about bringing healing, acceptance, personal growth, and most important that I have discovered is connection to self. Because if you don't have, connection to self, what are you going to, how do you connect to other people? My biggest all I can see is Facebook users, so I'm not sure who you are or how to change that. But hi back, and thank you for saying hi. Maybe if you tell me who you are, we can guess where you are. I'd like to see if we can get this right across the country. Where are my BC girls? I know you're out there. I know you follow me, and I so very much appreciate it. We're going to talk about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, but we're really going to focus on the divine feminine. And the reason is the divine masculine's already everywhere. The profane, the wounded masculine, who has been ruling the world for far too long. And the best way to counter that is Donna Valencourt, hello, my friend, is with the divine healed feminine. She wants to rise up. And when I found my divine feminine, when I honored her, when I embraced her, and when I discovered how powerful she was, my world blossomed. It blew up. I was finally happy. Hi, Lori. How are you? Utopia. I was finally able to find acceptance in my feminine, safety in my feminine, and acceptance in my masculine. Because what I believe, my personal belief is this. I believe that we are all a beautiful balance of the feminine and the masculine. And we each have a pendulum that swings between the both. And wherever our pendulum lies, that is our unique balance of both qualities, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Now, on the flip side, hi, Susie from Oregon. She might be my furthest away. What I also know is this. We also have a balance of the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine. And these energies need to be healed. We're going to get to that. But what I really want for people to understand when we talk about the feminine and we talk about the masculine, it's not about the gender you're born with. Not all men are masculine and not all women are feminine. And then on top of all that, we have this whole spectrum of non-binary to respect, honor, and consider as well. Because every single person, human on this planet, has their own unique balance. That's what I believe. I believe the time for these properly labeled boxes of who the fuck we're supposed to be, it's time for them to be gone. Like, we're going to blow that shit up, because I can be logical. I'm not, but I could. And that's a masculine trait. And men can be creative. And that's okay. What is not okay is that the patriarchy, I'm going to lose you, but I don't care. I lose some of you. The patriarchy, that profane, wounded masculine, has had dominance for far too long. It's time to let it go. Because who does it serve to push down the divine feminine? To deem sensuality as sinful, or to say creativity is weak? It doesn't serve women. It doesn't serve men. It doesn't serve our children. Ditch the boxes. Thank you very much, Donna. And why is it deemed not enough for a nurturing mother to nurture her children? Or father, either. But for one person, one woman to have the societal pressure, get up, get your kids up, get your kids dressed, get your kids fed, them to school, go to work, come home, feed your kids, do the laundry, clean up, go to bed, fucking exhausted. While that profane masculine is sitting on the couch drinking a beer watching hockey if he's Canadian. Profane, not all, not across the board, however, too common. It doesn't serve either the divine feminine or the divine masculine for this to be an okay scenario. It only serves that wounded masculine. And the masculine traits, up until now, have been really deemed more valuable, unfortunately. The feminine has been deemed as weak, as non-essential. You know, when I say I lead from my intuition, many times it's laughed at. But I do. And to be completely honest with you, I have been leading from my intuition, from my heart and my soul for 3 years exclusively, and it's yet to steer me wrong. I am feminine. But for many, many years, I was conditioned to believe being feminine was weak. And so my connection to self, trying to fit into this masculine world, it didn't work. I never fit in. I never felt self-connected, and I never felt safe. The divine feminine is not a threat to anybody. It doesn't serve anybody to push them down. I don't want to say, I am feminine, hear me roar, you better be down there. I want to come up to the masculine, meet, and grow. Coming up together. Because when we find the balance between both of our energies, we find our authentic selves. When we find our authentic selves, when we find our authentic self-connection, we make way deeper connections with others. When I am putting my vulnerable self out there, Susie Day, I find other like-hearted people. Like-hearted, not like-minded. I don't think from my head. Never have. Who'd have thought? And I made it this far. I am not weak by being feminine. I am not weak in being sensual. I have huge beauty and strengths in my feminine traits. And I am going to live from there, and I'm going to teach my children, my son and my daughters, to find their own balance. My son loves pink. Good for you. Wear it, own it, love it. And men, I know many, many men who come from the feminine. Men physically cannot give birth. They cannot create life. Not in the physical sense, but a creative individual, male gender, non-binary, who's coming from their feminine can certainly birth an idea, can certainly birth a creative project, and can absolutely birth a business as they do over and over again. That comes from the feminine. And once we accept this, once we go through all the traits, all the energies of both, we can celebrate them. And we can come from a place of healing and start a global healing. The masculine and the feminine energies are the yin to the yang. They complement and they nourish each other. They don't combat each other. They are fluid, right? Life experiences, different knowledges, different situations, they will allow that pendulum to swing. Just because today I'm way over here, my feminine, doesn't mean I'm going to stay here. I can go back and forth. As can children, as can men, as can anybody who has different experiences in life. In my 40s, I went through a divorce. I'm very vocal about this. I have a fantastic relationship with my ex-husband now. I am in no way putting him down, but we went through a divorce and it was hard. And when I was there and when I was at my most vulnerable, I'm telling you, I shot to that masculine so fast because I had been programmed to believe, I had been conditioned to believe that it is safer in that masculine. My feelings are protected if I hide them and just act masculine. Guys, I went and got the biggest, blackest truck. I still drive it up. I love it. And I pushed those feelings down. But you know how it felt for me, because I was in the wrong place to be living from that masculine? It just felt so tense. I was constantly tense and it felt terrible. As much as I felt safe, it felt terrible. I had to slowly soften and heal and trust that there was still safety in the feminine. Thank you guys. You rock. Women have a womb center. Absolutely we do. Thank you. I don't know who wrote it, but thank you. So why didn't I feel safe in my divine feminine? My ex-husband didn't hurt me in a physical sense. I wasn't threatened in any way, but my emotions were vulnerable. This divine feminine energy has always been with us, right? She represents connections, consciousness, nurturing, intuition, empathy, regardless of your birth gender. She represents creativity, intuition, community, sensuality, collaboration. Hello, let's talk about collaboration amongst women. No, we're not going to talk about collaboration because that's a whole circle. Women's have to start supporting women. You're not my competition. Whole other thing though. So who does this threaten? Why is it threatening to be empathetic? Why is it threatening to be feminine, to own your hips? I am a curvy woman. And you know what I learned about being single at 40? Men love curvy women. All that self-worth doubt I had being married, whew, dating at 40 was fun. That's probably not going to be a circle. But if you're watching, you know it. Who does it threaten, though? Who does it harm for divinely feminine women to feel confident in that? For men to feel confident in that? Why don't we ask the abusers of the Me Too movement? They found it upon themselves to victimize women at their own power, would you say? What did they get from taking from these women? What did they heal? They didn't heal anything. All they did was break. They broke women. They broke their trust. They were dominating. They were violent. I don't want to go too far into the Me Too movement. I try to stay away from politics and negativity as I try to push up the positive of the feminine, of connection. But I do want to make a side note here to the Me Too survivors, because I know if I was to ask everybody who had been victimized in some way, I would get a lot of notifications at this time. So what I can say to you about that is this. As a woman, as a feminine woman, I am so sorry for what happened to you. I do not know why you were chosen. I can study the profane masculine and understand why they sought out victims, but it's not right. It hurt you. And I would like to say to you, I see you, I hear you, I validate you, I reach my hand out to you, and I hold space for you to heal. I am committed through West Coast Soul to creating community, a safe and sacred community for all who identify within their feminine, to heal in, to be safe in, and to thrive in. To anyone who's coming up raised in, suppressed by, being a vulnerable sector of our community or of humankind, whether you're Indigenous, whether you're Black, whether you're LGBTQ, women, children, elderly, anybody living with disabilities. It is my job as a white woman of privilege to hold my hand out to anybody feeling vulnerable. Whatever you need for me to rise up. And if a girl like me, who didn't necessarily grow up with privilege, can recognize the privilege of looking in the mirror and seeing that I have white skin, that generational trauma of mine is lessened for it, then there's no reason anybody else cannot. And that's all I'm going to say on that right now, because I only have so much time. The harm the patriarchal systems have had on anything feminine has thrown our world so out of balance. We need to heal. We need to rise up, and we need to meet the divine masculine. Why do we need to heal? How do we heal? You know why we need to heal? Because I have children. Because I'm not passing on that generational trauma to them. I want to see my son's generation as fathers who are not afraid to cry, to be loving, to be affectionate. My father wasn't taught that by his military father. They had completely different generational traumas. By us healing, we stop it and we don't give it to our children. So how do you heal the divine? What is the divine? What are the qualities? I can list them off like this because I've been studying this. But do you know? Like what would you put? Feel free, throw it in the comments. Tell me what your favorite divine feminine masculine quality energy is. The divine feminine, and I'm just going to say she as the energy, not she as the woman. She as the energy is heartfelt. She is intuitive. She is passive, but creative. The feminine doesn't bulldoze in. She invites. The feminine is nurturing. She is soulful. She's a visionary and intuitive, soft, fluid, flexible, and internal. The divine masculine is logical. I am not logical. And that's okay. They are the thinker. They are the action takers. Reason, structure. They are the divine masculine. He wants to fill the needs and be protective. Sometimes they're too hard, but they're assertive. They're external. I think the best thing I can tell you about this is when you're building a house, a home. The masculine builds the home, the structure. The feminine makes it a home. And I think you know what I mean by that, I hope. The wounded side is completely different. The wounded feminine, she's a victim. She's powerless. She's codependent and often manipulative. Needy, oversensitive, over emotion to the point of almost desperate. She is often overindulgence and oftentimes a martyr. And that unfortunately, all of those energies make her the perfect victim for that wounded, for that profane masculine. The profane masculine is a predator. He is dominant. He is close-guarded and aggressive. A wounded masculine is in control all the time, overly competitive, overly confrontational. He is critical, abusive, unsupportive, and completely emotionally unstable. And this here, that wounded masculine, is the only one of all four who can cause harm to the other three. Because when you flip it over and you come back to that divine, to that healed, the more you heal, the less power the wounded has. And that's why we need to heal. So how do we heal? How do we heal that divine feminine energy? Where do we pull that strength from? Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to start fucking releasing shaming each other. No more shame. I'm being a woman. What is the most female thing we can do? We menstruate. Every single month we menstruate, and it is shamed. 51% of the world population is born female, physically. Hi, Ashley. Good afternoon. 51%. So 51% of the population comes out, raises up, and bleeds. And we shame it. We tax it. Oh my God, why is there tax on tampons? We give out condoms, but we can't give out feminine menstruation needs. Unbelievable. We need to release that shame. We need to release the stigma on that natural physical occurrence because it's ridiculous. We go back thousands of years. The red tent was essential. And you know what? We have to bring it back. I've put it out over and over again. When that world opens up, we're bringing back the red tent. Barrie, Ontario, come out once a month. We're going to pull it in. Releasing body shame on women who have curves, women who don't have curves. Body type. Why are we shaming each other so much? Women have curves. The average supermodel girl in the magazines, 15 years old, and no hips. The average size of a woman in North America is 12. So who is that 15-year-old model representing? And why are they selling it mass media to my generation? It makes no sense because all it does is shame the women who don't look like that. It makes no sense. We have breasts. We have hips. We have curves. You know what boobs are for? They're for feeding babies. Breasts, full functional, are meant to feed babies. There's a function. But have you ever walked through the mall and gone by the Guess store and seen the size of the boobs on a mannequin? Oh my God. And they're not there to sell breast milk. They're there to sell t-shirts. You can use breasts and you can use sex to sell beer, to sell clothing, to sell any kind of products you want. But if you breastfeed a child in public, that's shamed on. Or if you bottle feed a child, that's shamed on. We have to stop shaming and we need to start holding and honoring one another, our uniqueness, what we have. And then when we come back to the divine masculine, the first thing here is also release shame. Allow the masculine to feel safe in being vulnerable. Brene Brown, I love her. She has brought shaming to the forefront. She's opened these conversations and it's got to keep going. You can't be vulnerable you can't have courage without being vulnerable. My father was the chief of the fire department. He didn't run into a burning building feeling safe. He still felt vulnerable, but the courage came from being vulnerable and still going, anything like that. So find safety in being vulnerable. That's right, Donna. Programming is deep. And now we're taking it apart. Generation after generation, child after child. The divine masculine is allowed to be affectionate, is allowed to have PDA, to kiss, to hug, to hold. Be comfortable with public displays of affection. Physical touch in India is commonplace with men. Men in India walk arm in arm, hand in hand in kinship. They kiss each other in the cheek. Hello. It is not sexual. It is not shame. It is just a form of respect and affection. Western civilization, completely shunned. It's insane. And when we're talking about the divine masculine, allowing them to feel confident, respectful in creativity of music, listening to their intuition. Respect that and honor that as well. The divine feminine energy is connected within the flows of all life cycles. A deep knowing within her, and it is an integral part of all that she, again, the energy, is. The divine feminine expresses from her heart. She uses her intuition and her mind, and she acts with a slow confidence. Trust in the universe, God, spirit, angels, whatever you choose. I choose universe, to guide her in the best possible way. Feeling, honoring emotions. You have to feel it to heal it. I say that, I think, in every Thursday night circle. The divine masculine energy lives within an individual who's connected to something bigger than themselves, than himself. Again, energy, not individual. They integrate it into their daily life. The divine masculine works with a sense of purpose, value, self-confidence that supports others as well. The divine masculine, a healed and healthy divine masculine, takes ownership of their behaviors and their actions and their energies and their choices, taking responsibility for all parts of life. I love the divine masculine. I love the divine feminine. When I began this journey, when I found the divine feminine and I found how much I related to it, and then I found other women who related to it, and then I found that my partner is going to be somebody who honors this, my life blossomed. And I don't expect you to do everything tomorrow. But having this acknowledgement, having this awareness, this is what it will take to get the ball rolling forward. Thank you so, so much for coming out. Thank you so, so much for paying attention. My name is Jo Mazgay. I am at West Coast Soul. You can find me at West Coast Soul 16, Facebook, Instagram. It's pretty easy to find, and that's why I love it. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back at 1 o'clock, and we're going to talk about boundaries. And boundaries are really big with women, whether we're in the feminine or the masculine, and why we need to honor them. And if this is something you like, reach out, let me know, because I am starting a new session of Women's Circles next Thursday where there's a lot more interaction, where women are on the screen, we come together from across the country, and we all grow together. And it's an absolutely beautiful experience, especially to anybody who's been a part of it. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful Monday. I'll be back again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. If you catch me on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. The more you comment, the further this goes, and I appreciate it. I hope you all have a super fabulous day. Thank you.